Hey there, friends. Long time no see. Welcome back to my channel. Shalita here. Y'all, this video is pretty late. Coming to you all with my April reading wrap up. So yes, we're at the end of May now, so this video is significantly late. But as my mom always said, as long as I owe you, you'll never be broke. Here we are now. We're addressing it today. So let's talk about the books that I read in April. Y'all, I think I really need to just start managing my expectations a little bit. I think I need to accept the fact that not every book that I read is gonna be a 5-star. I'm not gonna have a month of just straight 5-star reads. It's not gonna happen. Might not even have 4-star reads. So that's just, I'm learning to deal with that. Yeah, it's hard to accept. It really is, especially when you expect so much. But anyway, so before we dive into that, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. And without further ado, let's just jump into it. So I read a mixture of physical and audiobooks this month. So the first book that I read this month was actually an ARC, and this is Blood and Betrayals by Alexis Ruin and Jeanette Rose. So first off, the cover is stunning. Look at that. This is the art copy. So I'll put a picture of what the finished product, the actual cover looks like. But I mean, the cover art for the art was amazing. This is a romantasy, and I will say, first of all, she a thick mama. Okay, like she's really thick, and yeah, she really thick one. You know, if you're not a fan of holding, big ass books, I highly recommend getting this one on Kindle. Okay, so our main character is Summer. So Summer's this fae with like a dark past, right? And she gets accepted into this like prestigious university for magical creatures. We're talking fae, witches, wizards, or Merlins rather, werewolves, vampires, you name it, they got it, right? So she gets accepted into this prestigious university. Honestly, she doesn't even know how that happened, but she's in there like swimwear. She's always been an outcast to her kind. You know, she's not like the typical fae. She's different than the others. And she has been more than content, you know, like keeping her head down, living her life on the outside. And that's until she meets her roommate, who's a vampire. Somehow they become great friends. So she's got this new BFF. And then she also kind of catches the eye of this hot angel. Yes, they're angels in this as well. She kind of finds herself in a relationship of sorts with this angel. Life seems to be, you know, kind of looking up for her, right? Until she starts feeling like she's being stalked online, and then bodies start dropping, and then there's that mystery to solve. Who's killing folks? Not only are they killing folks, the victims are strangely connected to her in a way. So I won't spoil anything, I won't give it away how they're kind of connected to her, but they're kind of connected to her. So for me, if it had been more about solving this murder mystery, if there was more actual action, I would have really loved this book. But this book fell short for me. There was just way too much spice. Like I get it. I like spice. I appreciate spice in a book. But if you're telling me that this is a fantasy, I'm gonna need more than a sexual fantasy. I need some action. I need some, you know, power spells, you know, battles, something going on. But it felt more like we were just following the lives of these magical beings, these special creatures on campus, and witnessing her sexual awakening or something. Which, I mean, she didn't seem by any means to be inexperienced at all. Okay, but it was just, you know, it was, most of the book was just about this push and pull between her and this guy, all the sex they were having all over the place. I'm talking on campus, I'm talking in restaurants. I mean, what's that 112 song? Like anywhere, like they were getting on anywhere they could. Yeah, so if there had been less of that and more actually action, this would have been a much better book. So I think I gave it a 3-star. I think I gave it 3 stars, yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna need more fantasy in these romanticities. But we all got our little freaky sides. But I need some Lord of the Rings action. I need something, you know, give me action. It is possible to have a fantasy book without all the cheek clapping. The next book that I want to talk about, I actually think I read this one before that one, but whatever. The next book that I want to talk about is The Vicious Games by Joelle Wellington. This book, I think I rated this 5 stars. If not 5 stars, maybe 4.5. I can't remember, but this book was so good. So this is a YA thriller, and it has been compared to Squid Games. I would say for me this was like Squid Games meets Lord of the Flies meets Mean Girls. It was really good. This book follows our main character, Adina. Adina is she's a black girl at a predominantly white elite high school, and she's a senior. She's on her way out the door. She's got everything going for her. She's got plans to go to her dream school, her dream university. And then she gets into a fight with the Regina George of the school, and her future is basically ruined. She is, her offer for for that college is rescinded, and she looks like she has no prospects at this point. She learns about this competition called the Finish, and the Finish is this competition that is put on by that is sponsored, hosted, put on, whatever, how you want to phrase it. That's put on by the founders of the high school that she attends. All is well and good, except for the fact that you can't just write your name on a list. You can't just sign up for this. You have to actually be chosen. So Adina does everything she can to, get a little attention to herself so she can get on that list. And she succeeds. She gets invited to the Finish. But Adina doesn't realize that there is more to this competition than simply writing essays and answering pageantry type questions. This is a life or death competition. Y'all, this book was what was so good for me. First of all, that first, like I said, it tells you on the back of the book is life or death, so we know people are going to be dying. That first death scene, gave me goosebumps. At this point, I was listening to the audiobook, so I'm driving. It's rainy outside, and when she describes the first death scene, I had literal goosebumps. A girl literally dies in Adina's arms, and she's hey, she's choking, she's dying, somebody help. And she's trying to reassure this girl, hey, everything's gonna be okay, everything's gonna be okay. And she's holding this girl in her arms, and nobody is doing anything. Everybody is just standing there. And that's when it kind of dawns on Adina, wait a minute. I'm telling y'all, this girl is dying and nobody is blinking. Nobody's moving. That's when she realizes, oh, y'all know what's up. The joke's on me, eggs on my face. I didn't realize what the hell I was walking into. But everybody else around her knew. All the other girls in the competition. the host and all that. Everybody's in on this. Everybody knows. Everybody but her. Not only that, but there's even more secrets about this competition that would be spoilers, so I'm not gonna give them away. But I will say what is so chilling about this story is you have these, these girls in this competition. And these are these prim and proper, high society young ladies. And they are conniving and ruthless and brutal. And what they are willing to do, the depths that they are willing to go to win this competition, it is jarring. When you think about it, you're like, oh, these are these rich, prim, proper, young ladies who know all about, how to sit properly and about which fork is used for this or that. But baby, they are willing to kill each other in this competition. And it's just jarring to think, the juxtaposition of, these prim, proper girls turned cold-blooded killers. So yeah, that just got me. Like you just listening to the way that they describe these girls and how perfect they are, and how polished they are. And then when that competition starts, baby, those prim proper masks come off and these girls are deadly. Just a really good book. I could not stop listening to it. It was so good. Very captivating. I look forward to reading more from Joelle Wellington, because this was a banger. The next book that I read was Bridesmaids by Sydney Smith. So this was a really cute, I guess this was more or less like a novella. This was a very short listen. I think this one was only like maybe 2 hours long. I don't know, it was very short. So I think it was, you would classify this as a novella. Yeah, this was my first male-male romance, and it was really cute. It was fun, it was fluffy, it was flirty. So we have our main character, Cooper, and Cooper is preparing to, I think he lives in LA or New York. He lives on one of the coast. But he is preparing to go home. He's preparing to go back home for his best friend's wedding. And right before he's set to leave for the wedding, him and his longtime boyfriend end up breaking up. So he is forced to go back home single to the wedding. Cooper is openly gay. And so he gets there and he runs into his high school crush. Turns out his high school crush was actually straight, but there was a moment 10 years ago when they were in high school. They had a moment together. And Cooper has never really gotten over it. So, he's always kind of remembered that as, hey, possibly the one that got away, or, wondering about what could have been. So, well, 10 years have passed, and now his high school crush is now out and openly gay. We get to see those sparks fly again for them. And it's cute. It's really cute. It's a real cute rom-com. There is a little, it gets a little serious, but not, not majorly serious, but this was just cute. It was cute, fun, great banter. One of my favorite narrators, I can't think of his name right now. He's Jared. He's Jared from Blockshot. But yeah, this was just a really cute, fun read for me. I enjoyed it very much. All right, so the next book that I read was Coming Home. I don't know if I should put it on this side or that side. The next book that I read was Coming Home by Kennedy Ryan. So this was an Audible original. This was more or less, I guess, a novella. So it was a pretty short listen. And this was similar to Bridesmaids. It was a second chance romance. So we have our two main characters, Torre and Naomi. Torre and Naomi were really good friends in college. They had like a pretty tight friend group, but there was always this undercurrent of attraction. Nothing ever happened between them because one of them was always, they were both always in a relationship. So nothing ever came to be. But there was one night in college that they shared a kiss, but that's as far as it went. As things go, they graduated and never saw each other again. So 15, 20 years have passed and they are in each other's orbits again. It is homecoming weekend at their alma mater, and it turns out that Torre's daughter is actually being crowned homecoming queen. She's a homecoming queen this year. And somehow one of their best friends kind of ropes them both into coming back. They are both in the journalism realm. So their best friend kind of ropes them into coming back together for the sake of, homecoming weekend. And when they get back together, those feelings that they thought were long forgotten have just kind of been laying dormant and asleep. So we just get to see them, come back together, right? Like I said, this is a short read. This was no muss, no fuss. This was fun, cute, short, quick, to the point. So just a really fun read, really cute. If you were just looking for a quick read in the car, if you are a fan of Kennedy Ryan's writing, this is the perfect book to listen to while you're sitting in traffic or on your commute, on a little short road trip, whatever the case may be. This is a cute read. So the next book that I read was actually a memoir, and I'm not typically a person who reads memoirs. The ones that I have read, I've either listened to, but I'm generally not really drawn to them. But I was interested in this one. I was intrigued by this one because I've heard great things about Jesmyn Ward's writing. I actually have another one of her books on my shelf that I really want to read. The next book that I read was Men We Reaped by Jesmyn Ward. And so this is a memoir about her life. Specifically, it deals with, I guess the main critical death that we are focused on is the death of her younger brother, her only brother. So the death of her brother, and not only him, but she shines the light on the deaths of various, male friends of hers from her childhood, from her youth. And we also get a look at her father and her father's role in her life, her father's role in the family unit. And it's just a really, poignant look at, poverty, poverty in the South, specifically in the Deep South. We're looking at poverty in the Black community, poverty, drugs, and the effects that drugs had on, her community, especially on Black men, and how many of them, died due to drugs. How, men in her life that died due to violence. And it's really sad because, it's sad when you listen to it because this is someone's personal account about, people that were important to her, people who mattered to her, and hearing, her connections, hearing her personal connections to them, and then hearing about their deaths. That's sad. But what's also really sad is that it's not surprising. It's not surprising, and it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. We shouldn't be so accustomed to the loss of Black lives. We shouldn't be so accustomed to hearing about the loss of Black men. And yet, it's an everyday occurrence. I didn't rate this book because, how do you rate somebody's life? This is somebody's life. This doesn't, you can't critique somebody's life. You just can't. So, I appreciate this book. I appreciate this author for telling this story, telling her story, something so deeply personal. And I will say that it definitely, as a mom, as a sister, as an aunt of young Black men, as the daughter of a black man, this story, this book definitely, I don't know, definitely touched me. And the last book. So I'm kind of like cheating a little bit here. So this book I started in April, but then I literally like finished it like May 1st. But I figured I did all the work in April, so it belongs on April's list. So the next book, and actually it was an ARC. I read the e-ARC, but I have the physical of it now. So let me just go ahead and pull it off the shelf. The last book for April was Can't Get Enough by Kennedy Ryan. This is book 3 in the Skyland series. Y'all, I know it feels like it took me forever to read it. It was actually a vlog that I need to finish and edit it and get it uploaded. The vlog of me reading this. This book, oh my gosh, it was bittersweet. This was such an amazing book. Bittersweet because the series is over and now I feel like I miss my friends. I miss my, you grow so attached to these characters in this series. So this was book 3. We finally get Hendrix's story. So book 1 in the Skyland series, of course, was about Yasmin. Book 2 follows Soledad, and then book 3 here follows our girl Hendrix. So Hendrix is the the boss babe of her crew. She's childless. She's got this amazing career in the entertainment industry. And she's just living that, rich auntie life, right? But in addition to this, career of hers, she is also now grappling with her mother's debilitating disease. Her mother has dementia. So she's, focusing on her career, trying to adapt to this new life for herself and for her mom, managing this illness. Who has time for love, right? Hendrix don't have time for it, baby. She don't have time for it. And then we have our main male character, Maverick. Maverick is this god of a man, okay? So Maverick is this, take no prisoners businessman. He is all about risk and reward. He's on his way to be, if he's not a billionaire, he's on his way to being one, right? So this is a forbidden romance, and I don't want to give away any spoilers. I don't want to tell you why the romance is forbidden, but it's a forbidden romance trope, and they both have to decide, is this relationship worth the risk? This could, not only jeopardize their personal lives, but this could possibly jeopardize their careers as well. I'm gonna read my Goodreads review a little bit, just because it's been a while since I read the book, and I just want to make sure that I cover everything that, that really spoke to me from this book. So with regard to Hendrix is always, in the first 2 books, Hendrix has always been that strong, independent friend. She's been the strong friend. She is always been there for her friends. Not saying that they've never been there for her, but we've never seen Hendrix be vulnerable, because those other 2 books weren't about her, right? They were about Yasmin, and then book 2 was about Soledad. But in this book, we truly get to see Hendrix's life outside of just being the strong friend. We get to see what it takes. We get to see that toll of being so strong all the time. Having to be the strong friend, having to be the strong person in every room, having to tuck away that vulnerability, not only for fear of being viewed as weak, but just because, You know, somebody got to be strong. We can't all fall apart, right? And so that's always been Hendrix. Hendrix has always been the one to hold it together, and she's built these walls up. To see her finally get to be vulnerable, to finally see what's going on in her life, and seeing her slowly let those walls down and let someone in and let others help her, you know, it's refreshing. And it also just helps you see, you know, like this, like, wow, this is, you know, check on your strong friends, you know, because it's not easy. Okay, so Hendrix and Maverick, their love story. Y'all, this man, when you say you want to see a man chase a woman, when you say you want to read a book where he falls first, you know, this man was enamored with her from jump. And it wasn't all physical. It wasn't about her appearance. He sees her at a party and she's being Hendrix, you know, she's dancing, she's happy. And he sees her light. He sees the effect that she has on other people, and that's what draws him to her. Her energy, her aura. Not just her beauty. You know, yeah, he notices that too. He notices that face, that body, boom, boom. What draws him in, what intrigues him about her is the light that she radiates. And I love that. And he was... as much as like Hendrix tried to be like, no, we can't do this, we can't go there, he was like, girl, I'm not giving up on you. If I gotta chase you, I'll put on these track shoes and I'm gonna chase you, girl. I'm gonna put on these Sauconys, on these Pumas, and I'm gonna chase you. And that he did. And it wasn't just about the chase. What's so unique about their relationship is Maverick was literally, even Maverick being a stranger, he was the only person in her life who could literally relate to what she was going through in her personal life. He was that ally, that bridge, that connection she needed. As great as a bond that she has with her friends, with Soledad and Yasmin, they can't relate to what she's going through. But Maverick had things in his own personal life that made him, you know, able to relate to what she was going through. And she had that, you know, that's where they kind of connected. And I love seeing that little bond between them. He made her feel seen. I love that Maverick is, what I loved about him is, like I said, he pursued her, he chased her. He was like, baby, I gotta have you. But I love that he is this strong, confident black man, but he also recognized that she is a strong, confident black woman. She doesn't need me, but I want to be there for her. I want to support her. I see her going for her dreams, her goals. You know, I know she's about her business. And he's like, I just want to be a champion for her. I got you. I got your back in whatever way, shape, or form that may be. I see you and I'm proud of you. If you need me, I'm here. I know you don't need me, but I'm here. Let me be that support for you if you need it. And I don't know if the young kids say it anymore, but his swagger, yeah, he had it. His confidence. And it wasn't like annoyingly, it wasn't arrogance. It was just confidence, and it was sexy. I loved it. You always know that you're getting more than romance with Kennedy Ryan. And one of the big things that I love about this book was just, you know, women supporting women, queens supporting queens, black women supporting black women. I love the conversations, the friendship, you know, between Yasmin, Hendrix, and Soledad. Their group chats were so authentic. They were so funny. They were so real. There's even a scene when they're they're having dinner together and they're just chopping it up, right? And they're talking, and Hendrix is, I think this is when she's kind of telling them that she's gonna go there with Maverick. And like, I think it's Soledad. Soledad starts talking, and like food flies out of her mouth because she's just so like what? Like so stunned by it. And I'm like, you can literally see this happening in your head. Like, this is so real. I mean, like, when people get stunned, sometimes food flies out of their mouth, right? It's just such a realistic scene, and it was so funny. I love the way that Kennedy writes these, not just our main characters, but even our side characters, these complementary characters. I love the way she writes them all in a way that's so authentic. Their conversations, their storylines are so, they're so organic. They're so real life. Like, these are things that people are experiencing. For instance, Hendrix is in business with two of her sorority sisters, and they're just out having lunch together, having a business lunch, so to speak. And they are just checking in with each other, like, hey, how are you doing? How are things going for you? And these are women in their late 40s, or not late 40s, late 30s, early 40s ish, so the 40 realm, my people. So you have one character who is, she's going through, she's a mom, she's a new mom, but she's also going through menopause. So it's like, oh, hey, oh man, between the diaper changes and the hot flashes, I don't know if I'm coming or going. But I love the way that Kennedy, for one, the conversation just felt so organic, just feels like friends checking in with friends. But also Kennedy is, at the same time, she's saying, hey, we 40-year-old women are here. We matter. These are some things that women are facing. These are some things that, even you 20-year-olds reading this, even you 30-year-olds reading this, this is something that you may have to deal with. And I love the way that she is presenting the topics of menopause and perimenopause and normalizing it. Like, it's nothing to be ashamed of. It is natural. We are all going to go through it. We might not all experience the same symptoms, but we are all going to go through that. I just really enjoy the way she addressed those issues, but not like, it wasn't like, ooh, boom, menopause. Ooh, boom, perimenopause. Ooh, motherhood and career. This was a trusted circle of sorority sisters, of friends, just checking in on each other's well-being. And yeah, I mean, these are some of the things that we as women talk about with each other, and just the way that they could talk about it so freely. Another thing that I love that she normalized is, first of all, is Hendrix. Yes, there's spice in here, but I love the fact that Kennedy Ryan said, hey, this is a 40-plus-year-old character, and she is a sexual being. She has a healthy sexual lifestyle, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I think a lot of young folks are like, oh, once you reach a certain age, you don't want that anymore. The devil's a lie. The devil's a lie. So she's normalizing Hendrix's sex life, but also some of the things that go along with getting older as a woman. Our bodies change. And one of the things that Hendrix says at one point in there is, she's like, hey, I got a bottle of lube in the drawer. Go ahead and pull that out. So sometimes our bodies change as we get older. And I love the fact that she normalized that for, women. And for anyone who may have those, may have the need for it. There's nothing wrong with needing lube. Okay, need it, you need it. But back to the friendship. I love Hendrix, Soledad, and Yasmin. I love that they were able to be there for her in this book the way that she was there for them in their books. There's this scene where they're in a group text. they're in their group chat, and Hendrix sends out her SOS. She's like, bitches, I need advice. I need some advice. Like, tag in, weigh in. I need y'all. And I just love that because that's how we talk. That's how we talk to each other sometimes. That's, just that comfortableness, that I don't know. I just love it. With all of Kennedy's, with this series specifically, or especially, you are getting more than just a romance. So I love the fact that you can read a book and tell that Kennedy has done her research. She is bringing in real life, issues and concerns that are going on in our world and our society. And she is, integrating it into the story because these characters are multifaceted. We are all, as humans, we are multifaceted. We are facing all kinds of, things in our lives. We are not, one-dimensional, and neither of these characters in these books. Kennedy's addressing topics such as, aging, caring for an aging parent, which is a big, topic of discussion these days, especially in America, especially with what's going on with healthcare and things like that. I remember there was a national news piece just last year about baby boomers and and how this generation is getting older and how people are having to care for their elderly parents, and not only the mental toll that takes, but the financial toll that can also take. So that's something that Kennedy's addressing in this book. And for me, my mom's getting up there in age, so this is definitely like an eye opener. I think this book is a great call to action. A lot of all the books in this series are a great call to action for people to have these discussions that are family. Like, hey, we are not going to live forever. What are we gonna do if our mom or our dad, get ill, or as they get older? What are we gonna do? Are we gonna be able to, care for them in our homes? Are we gonna have the option of looking at, a nursing facility? This book especially is a great conversation starter for families. He discusses, Black women in business and entrepreneurship and the disparity there. The Aspire Fund that Hendrix and her sorority sisters, that they are behind, that they created. It's based on a real life organization that was created by real life Black women. And there is, some issues and a battle surrounding this organization, Hendrix's, or I can't even talk. There's a legal battle that happens in this book for Hendrix's organization. It is based on, a real life organization ran by, Black women. And they also, it's based on the battle that they faced. So, but Kennedy has found a way to present this to the readers, to put this in the story, but do it in a way that it is organic. It doesn't feel like she is shoving, social issues down your throat, but she is providing you with knowledge and an awareness that you may not have, received otherwise. But yeah, I left this book feeling, I started this book feeling highly emotional. Like I was already crying. I don't think I was even 10 pages in and I was crying. But, this book made me feel so many emotions. Grief, hope, love, admiration, just the gamut of emotions. But I also felt, informed. I felt educated after reading this. And just the epilogue, the way the book ends, it was such a sweet, it was a sweet farewell to this group of women, to Hendrix, to Soledad, and Yasmin. They are they are they are like literally each other's soulmates, and it's so beautiful because you know that these stories are about their lives, and you know, and it's romance, so it's about their love stories, but underneath it is this love story, this friendship, this story of their love for each other. So I just love the way this story ended and how much these women love each other and are there for each other and support each other. And it was just so beautifully done. Oh my God. I'm so like sad that the series has ended, but I am very hopeful and excited and anxious to see them on, you know, on Peacock, you know, on the big screen, on the small screen, on my screen. I can't wait for this series to come out. So excited for that. Where are my Kennedy Ryan fans at? Have you read this one yet? If not, go ahead, get around to it. You need to hurry up and read it. Don't rush through it. Take your time. I feel like this one I savored a bit more. I didn't rush through it as quickly as I did the other two books, because I think I just knew, like, this is it. I can't rush through this. This is it. I have to absorb this. And there are moments that I had to like step away. I was like, nope, I gotta put that down. I can't handle that right now. So just, yeah, if you were someone who's, you know, caring for an elderly parent right now, this, you know, this one might be a little rough on you, you know, but just such an amazing book. 5 stars. Ate it up, loved it. Yum, 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 yum. That is it. So have you all read any of these books? And have you read any of these? I know that Kennedy's book just came out like a couple weeks ago. Blood and Betrayals came out in April. So they're both relatively new. And then we have Our Vicious Games, of course, which was amazing. And have you read any of these? Let me know down in the comments. I'm eager to know what you guys thought of those. Any Joelle Wellington fans out there, let me know what I should read next in her catalog. Bless you. Any Joelle Wellington fans out there, let me know what I should read next in her catalog. Let me know if there are any other young adult thriller writers out there that you feel are kind of similar to her that I should check out. Let me know, because I don't know, you guys. Young adult thrillers might be my new thing. I'm gonna talk about it next month. I'm gonna talk about it in May's wrap up. But I just finished Tiffany D. Jackson's The Weight of Blood. Absolute banger. So I don't know. I think young adult thriller might have me in its clutches right now. But anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. Let me know what you read in April. Let me know. Give me some young adult thrillers that I need to check out. Let me know. All right. Well, thanks for watching, you guys. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. And until the next one, friends. Bye.